Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from Nuxtaku, and today we've got the biggest gaslights in anime. Intriguing. It looks like he's trying to get back into little bits of anime bobs here and there. I know he's done the biggest flexes in anime, but it's like an hour and something long, and I will get around to that at some point during this month. But until then, let's check out this one.
Gaslighting is not real. Or at least that's what I would say if I was trying to gaslight you. There are a lot of really manipulative anime characters out there. From
Yeah, there
the
are.
absolute top to the bottom, you got manipulative, vindictive holes everywhere. I will be looking in and honing into one specific type of hole for this very video. I will be talking about the biggest gaslighters in anime. Gaslighting, for those of you that are unaware, is more than just manipulating. It's manipulating someone through psychological methods to the point where they question
You make them think that they are in the wrong.
themselves. It's
Yeah.
not just convincing someone, tricking someone, manipulating someone into doing something that they wouldn't have done otherwise, but now because of you turning the gears in their head, they've actually done it. No. Gaslighting is a much more personal ability. It's convincing someone that they are crazy. Like how every time I tell you I'm not dangerous and you are not dangerous, I'm actually gaslighting you. You don't even realize that you are helping me become the world's superpower.
Whoa. But why tell us now? Maybe it's too late.
Pay no attention to anything I just said. It wasn't important at all. Just completely wipe that out of your memory while you nonchalantly scroll to the like button and hit that, and then maybe even subscribe to the channel for future hilarious
Links in the
anime
description for the
videos.
original video.
Just don't pay
Do
any
that.
attention to any of that. Don't worry. You know what else never happened? None of Ichigo's actual successes. Now, Ichigo is a character that went through a lot of crazy stuff. He went up a lot of crazy opponents, and despite going up against them, he would just manage to barely squeak through every single fight and win. Man goes up against Kampachi. Bro, it was so crazy close, but he just made it. Byaku, you're so close. Every single Espada dude, he was about to lose. No, he clenched his butt cheeks and walked forward like an absolute man serving up a barely passable dish to Gordon Ramsay. And then my boy meets Aizen, the dude who in the past stopped his very theme song
Yeah, that moment is always iconic. But where is he going with this?
with a single finger.
Wow. Wow. So cool.
And Aizen says to you, all those accomplishments, all those battles that you fought, all those battles that you won, every fight that you just barely
That
clutched,
was
all
me.
the clenchedness of your ass cheeks that Aizen has been staring at for the past 600 episodes, they were all part of his master plan. You see, Aizen was training him. He was putting him in fights that he could just barely...
I needed someone to test my power when I get to where I need to be. Or maybe I need someone to actually stop me.
win every single time to push him to his absolute limit to become as strong as he absolutely is right now so that he could be defeated. None of his battles were actually worth anything. None of his adventures were actually meaningful. None of the crazy torment that he went through were actually something that happened. Every time he survived by the skin of his teeth just barely, it was a perfectly calculated plan by Aizen to put him in that scenario at that time that he would be able to eke out a victory. Everything in his entire life was fake, and my man Ichigo sat there, limp dick in hand, and was like, holy moly, bro, that's wild. I am a failure. Everything I did was just part of Aizen's plan. My man Aizen gaslighted the main character and his 300 episode journey to get here. And it wasn't like some just gaslighting where he was telling you, yo, all those things that you did, they were actually kind of not so impressive. No, they were impressive, but they were only impressive because Aizen put them there to make him impressive.
Oh, I see what he's doing now. Aizen's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but I planned it.
Dude, Ichigo was rocked to his core. Everything he thought he knew crumbled around him, looking up at this behemoth of power. Aizen has absolutely, positively, without a doubt, cemented himself as the king of anime gaslighters. The absolute top tier, the echelon of gas. Ichigo felt like his own actions were meaningless until this point, and they kind of were. This gaslighting is incredible, and you will not see anyone on this entire list, in this entire video, taking that crown from Aizen. Next on the list isn't actually from an anime. This was recommended to me on my stream, and I wanted to talk about it specifically early so that the people that are watching this video that actually were in the stream, they would be like, yo, that's crazy. I was there when he thought of this one himself. We told him about it. Green Lantern's ability is incredibly powerful, and this dude, anything he imagines he can materialize. This man is telekinetic, he's telepathic, he's everything. He can throw things around and create giant green glowing hammers. My man
he can create anything that he can think of.
And had the most advanced jerking off method in the face of the planet. So what would you say if I told you that he, this man of intelligence, of intellect, of imagination, and of extreme power, what if I told you that he got gaslighted very badly? What if I told you that with enough prep time, Batman could beat him? And you're like, bro, it doesn't matter how much prep time this dude has. He's up against Green Lantern. Anything he imagines becomes real. What if I told you Batman was able to gaslight Green Lantern into thinking that he was paralyzed? Because what if I told you that Green Lantern, thinking that he's paralyzed because of Batman's gaslighting, actually caused his ability to take effect and paralyze him? Batman was able, and I'm not exaggerating, to gaslight Green Lantern into thinking he was paralyzed to the extent that his power paralyzed himself.
Wow, okay, so yeah, because his imagination creates it, so that if he thinks that, then it... Wow, okay, whoa.
Oh, Eisen, sit the heck down. You're this man that's all powerful. You have so many powers. Your gaslighting thing was cool, but it was like completely unnecessary. This regular dude, this rich Elon Musk knockoff vigilante spandex wearing phobia having white boy over here was able to take down a super threat, a guy who could dream up nuclear weapons and they just exist, by gaslighting him into complete and utter submission.
Wow.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
that's crazy.
Is the biggest gaslight on the list. As far as everyone we'll be talking about today, there is going to be no gaslight bigger than this one. Oh, did you believe me? Next on the list, we are talking about Joseph Joestar. He's a dude with very minuscule powers, and you're going to be like, bro, what do you mean minuscule powers? He had yo-yos, and he could hit people with them. All right, now, I know how respectable and impressive that sounds. It puts even Green Lantern to shame. And his opponent is the ultimate perfect cars. I know what you're thinking. All right, ultimate perfect cars. Come on, bro. He can't really be that ultimate and perfect, can he? Well, what if I told you this guy's superpower was all superpowers? What if I told you that his power was he is the perfect life form, meaning he has every possible version of every possible power. Man can even turn his hand into a squirrel. Anything that Joseph could do, he can do too, because technically he is just the perfect version of every life form. Now you're thinking, all right, dude, you know what? I take it all back. You see, maybe even if Green Lantern was in the world with perfect cars would just be a perfect version of that too. This man is the epitome of perfection. How could he even possibly be defeated? To cut a long story short, Joseph manages to end up in a position where a volcano is launching him and perfect cars really high up.
And he makes out that he planned it the whole time. Yeah.
And he manages to launch cars basically out of the stratosphere. This ultimately defeats him because there is no life in space. Even if he is the ultimate perfect life form, no life form can actually exist in the
space.
Cold, dark, infinite abyss of space. He is living in that vacuum now for eternity because he's constantly regenerating. However, he is completely frozen solid because no life can actually exist out there. Now, here's where the gaslighting comes in. When Joseph was shooting him into space at that point, and it was a total accident, he managed to kind of be in the right place at the right time in order to do it, and it was absolutely hilarious. Cars is like...
But he's like, yeah. I planned a reality, so yeah.
This dude is going to be floating for eternity in
thinking that, yeah.
turmoil inside, unable to move a muscle. After billions of years during the heat death of the universe, this immortal being will survive constantly regenerating in absolute nothingness. You will be thinking about how he was completely outsmarted by Joseph Joestar, a human.
So we decided to bait them and outsmart them.
And I just find that so hilarious.
It's actually quite interesting to think about. But he is going to be thinking about the whole time.
He wanted to break him. This man was a broken, shattered deity floating through space, gaslighted for eternity by Joseph Joestar.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that that is definitely grounds enough to have this.
Never thought about that. Yeah, he's constantly going to be thinking about how he's going to think he was outsmarted the whole time, yeah.
Up here as the #1 absolute biggest gaslight in all of anime. There is no gaslight this big. Except in Fate Zero, there is a very cool character by the name of Kiritsugu Emiya. This man is an absolute badass. You thought Batman was cool? Bro, Kiritsugu is just edgier, more guns having, actually gets the job done version of Batman. In this Holy Grail war, you have 7 factions, 7 masters, each of them summons a servant, an incredibly...
Haven't we got a new Fate series coming this season?
powerful person from the past to help them, and it ends up becoming a 7-team tag team Fortnite battle royale of Sussy Among Us to the death, where whoever wins will eventually win the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is this ultimate wish-granting device that you could wish for anything, and boof, it'll happen.
Oh, will it?
Sounds pretty great. Obviously, why these 7 people are more than willing to risk their life on such a prize. Some want world domination. Some want glory for their family. Some want ultimate power. Some want everything that the world has to offer and feel like it is their birthright. There are many fascinating psychologies and philosophies that go throughout the story of Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero, but Kiritsugu Emiya is the peak perfect utilitarianist bastard that anyone could hope to watch and experience.
He's
this
so
man
sick.
is willing to sacrifice everything that it takes to achieve his goal. He wants to win the Holy Grail and wish for peace. Ultimate perfect peace. Which is very noble, very cool, and this dude is a utilitarianist, right? I mean, he's noble and cool and he doesn't want anyone to die, but he's going around murdering people because murdering people is ultimately going to get him to the goal. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. It is a very, very noble motive. And he goes through the entire Grail War doing this, easily becoming one of my favorite anime protagonists of all time. When he eventually gets to the Grail, he eventually starts intuiting and talking to this mythical creature that can somehow answer any wish of his, and the Grail invades his consciousness and basically gives him a scenario. Let's say there is a boat, and there's a bomb on the boat. The boat has 500 people on the boat. Now, you have a smaller boat, and you can only save 300 people on the smaller boat. And he says, well, you save 300 people on the smaller boat, and you let the big boat blow up, because, well, you know, that's just kind of what you gotta do. Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. I'm sorry to those 200 people. What if there is another bomb on the smaller boat, and now the smaller boat is divided into 2 boats? You have another boat that could seat 200 people. And he starts explaining and going down this path where eventually he's broken. Following this philosophy of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few is a very, very powerful
going,
mindset.
doesn't it?
It's a way to capitalize saving people, but ultimately, if you go down this path of just murdering in cold blood the few to save this many, it makes you a monster. It completely rewrites his entire understanding and his entire philosophy. Every act that he has done throughout his entire life, every person that he's killed to save 2 others, trying his absolute best to be a hero, it rewrote everything in his history to make him a villain. The series ends with Kiritsugu saving 1 person from the destruction that he brought upon this entire area, who eventually becomes the protagonist of the next series, Fate Stay Night. This is an incredibly powerful, powerful moment. A moment so strong in breaking apart this psychology and philosophy of a character, breaking him to his core, turning him from a man that would stop at nothing for his goals to a completely broken man whose entire life betrayed his very own ideology. The gaslighting done here by the Holy Grail was on a level and magnitude higher than anything we've seen before. I'm sorry I'm not talking in as jovial of a term. Fate Zero is one of my favorite anime of all time.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Fate
Zero is so freaking boss.
Tragedy where no one wins. It's just everything that I could possibly want in a story, and that's why the Holy Grail is actually the biggest gaslighter in all of anime. Or at least that's what I would say, if not for the fact that we have a character in Code Geass by the names of Charles Z. Britannia. Code Geass is an anime where you have the nation of Britannia. It is the world's superpower, and it is slowly conquering the entire world. In this story, there are these Geass powers. They're these eyeball Sharingan abilities that allows people to do certain things. Every Geass power is kind of different and fits in very cool and in a nice way to their overarching philosophy and psychology, and Code Geass is my 3rd favorite anime of all time for a reason.
It is
Charles
brilliant.
Z. Britannia's special Geass ability is the ability to rewrite memories. This man's superpower is actually gaslighting. We've talked about a lot of gaslighting, a lot of mental and emotional manipulation, but have you ever thought of manipulation to be the superpower? You have the most strong-willed characters in the world, like Lelouch, the main character, who gets gaslighted by a superpower to completely veer course and become a totally different person. I don't even want to get into the spoilery stuff for this one, but every character you meet, you have to wonder who they actually are. Are they who they think they are, or have they just been gaslighted by this dude? This man's been gaslighting people on a macro scale for years. No one could even trust their memories. No one knows who they are. It adds a layer of complexity and twist to every single character action in the story. You have Lelouch out there talking about his brother. Oh, my brother Rolo's so nice. Oh, I like my brother Rolo. And then he realizes, wait a second. After he manages to undo the gaslight power, he's like, wait, who is this Rolo guy? I don't have a brother. Who is he? Is Rolo a spy? Is Rolo just there to watch him? Is
You'd
Rolo
question
actually
everything,
think he is
wouldn't you,
his
if
brother?
ever
Because
had that
maybe he
happen
does.
and then you
Maybe he was
realise the truth.
gaslighted too. Code Geass is an anime where you have the nation of Britannia. It is the world's superpower, and it is slowly conquering the entire world. In this story, there are these Geass powers. They're these eyeball Sharingan abilities that allows people to do certain things. Every Geass power is kind of different and fits in very cool and in a nice way to their overarching philosophy and psychology, and Code Geass is my third favorite anime of all time for a reason. Charles Z. Britannia's special Geass ability is the ability to rewrite memories. This man's superpower
Is he
is
just
actually
trying to trick
gaslighting.
us with
We've talked
this?
about a lot of gaslighting, a lot of mental and emotional manipulation. But have you ever thought of manipulation to be the superpower? You have the most strong-willed characters
Is
in the
this
world. and you lose
intentional?
the
What's
main
happened? I'm
character
questioning
who gets
everything now.
gaslighted.
Ah!
Has superpower to completely veer course and become a totally different person. I don't even want to get into the spoilery stuff for this one, but every character you meet, you have to wonder who they actually are. Are they who they think they are, or have they just been gaslighted by this dude? This man's been gaslighting people on a macro scale for years. No one could even trust their memories. No one knows who they are. It adds a layer of complexity and twist to every single
This is messing with my
character
head.
action in the story.
This
You
is
have
messing
Lelouch
with
out
my
there
head.
talking about his brother. Oh, my brother Rolo's so nice. Oh, I like my brother Rolo. And then he realizes, wait a second. After he manages to undo the gaslight power, he's like, wait, who is this Rolo guy? I don't have a brother. Who is he? Is Rolo a spy? Is Rolo just there to watch him? Is Rolo actually think
Please
he
do
is his
something
brother?
next
Because
after
maybe he
this.
does. Maybe he was gaslighted too. It's a crazy twist on the
Okay.
story, and it's only revealed about halfway through the story. The fact that he could do this, and it changes so many interactions and characters. That
Was
we
that
actually thought we
intentional?
knew until
Was that
this point. The fact
intentional?
that this main antagonist of a story's superpower was the ability of gaslighting is just hilarious. Hilarious to the point that it's the reason why this is the final entry on the list. The final person I'm talking about on this video.
don't think it
There
is.
is no anime character that could gaslight people like Charles Z. Britannia, one of the best written anime antagonists in history. Unless we wanted to include Haruhi Suzumiya, the actual last character on this
Okay.
list. Sorry I was gaslighting you throughout the entire video. I just felt like it was very thematically appropriate.
That really messed
Until
with my
now, I've
head.
mentioned manipulation tactics, where they've actually changed people.
Because then I was like, did I click something for it to go back? But it was just right at the right point. So I'm just like, oh, what's happening? So it's like, please.
People's very state of mind. From Aizen twisting Ichigo into doubting himself, even though ultimately it didn't make that much of a difference, to Joseph tormenting his opponent, to Batman crippling Green
That's
Lantern, they all
amazing.
pale in comparison to Haruhi Suzumiya. The world of Haruhi Suzumiya is fascinating because when you're watching it, you're watching a slice of life story. It's a bunch of high school kids kind of hanging out. A couple of them are weird and quirky. You got this girl, Haruhi Suzumiya. She's always outgoing. She's out there doing projects. She doesn't like being bored, and she's doing her thing. The twist of the story is it turns out Haruhi Suzumiya is not your average regular girl. In fact, a lot of the people in the core cast are not normal people. One of them turns out to be an android. One of them turns out to be a time traveler, and one of them turns out to be an alien.
What?
And they're all here in the same class. Isn't that funny? They're all here, sent by their alien race, sent from the future, created as an android to watch over one person. She doesn't know herself, but she is the unknowing god of the universe.
Oh.
She created everything. She controls everything. It turns out she doesn't want to be bored, so crazy
think
things
my ex
have
told
to
me about
happen
this.
in the universe in order to keep her from being bored. Life as this unbeatable, omnipotent god would be boring. So therefore, she doesn't know she is that omnipotent god. Not only is she gaslighting everyone in the world to regard her as a normal person, but she even subconsciously is gaslighting herself, thinking she
wow.
is just your regular high school girl having a good time. There is nothing, nowhere in fiction, in history, in anything that will surpass Haruhi Suzumiya on the scale of the biggest gaslighters in anime. Not only does she gaslight everyone in the universe, but she is gaslighting herself into thinking she is just your regular girl out there having a good time. Subconsciously twisting and contorting how every person in the world reacts to anything that she does because she controls it all. Ladies and gentlemen, I end you with this. The biggest gaslighters in anime. In my opinion, this was one of the best videos I made in a long time. I
Wow.
thought the comedic writing was actually really good. I'm proud of myself. I think I did a good job on this one. I'd really appreciate it if you shared it around. Now, don't gaslight yourself into thinking you're supporting the channel by just watching. No, no, no! I mean, you are, realistically. You're making me like a tenth of a penny, and I appreciate you immensely. It's because of you that I'm able to actually put bread on the table and make these videos. But don't feel like you've done too much here. Leave a like, subscribe, share it around. Have yourself a most wonderful evening. I really appreciate you. I genuinely do. Not in the gaslighting way, like in the real way. Not that you'd ever believe anything I say ever again, which is good, because you should never believe an influencer, least of all, me.
Damn. then what do we believe? Wow, some interesting things in there. That was, yeah, the Green Lantern thing was cool. The Code Geass edit really threw me. Like, did I click something, or I was questioning everything? I was like, oh, was that meant to happen? But yeah, it's good to see a Nux video, and I will at some point this month check out that Biggest Flexes in Anime. It's just this like an hour and something, and I'm doing a lot of hours at work at the moment, so yeah, make sure you check out my Etsy shop. Link in the description for t-shirts and hoodies that I've designed, and thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I support channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that. Thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know that I should watch because in future videos. I'll see you guys next time.